What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you, this time on Sleeper. It is a 12-team full PPR mock where we have the 4th overall position. As far as our roster, same setup as normal: 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and then 5 bench spots. But that's pretty much it, so we can kick this thing off. And while we wait, a quick reminder: if you guys enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter, All Day Pigskin, to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comments section. What do you think of these picks? Along with any other questions you guys might have, we will do our best to answer them all. And lastly, make sure to check out the 2022 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide, now available for purchase. Has everything you can want at a great value: top 150 overall player rankings in standard and PPR formats, individual player bios, tiers, projections, along with general fantasy advice. Details in the description. But with that being said, let's take a look at this mock. And this is actually our first mock that we've really done on Sleeper so far. We've done a lot on Fantasy Pros, Yahoo, ESPN, but I thought, why not switch it up a little bit, see what these ADPs are in another platform. So it should be pretty entertaining. The first 3 picks are in. They are Jonathan Taylor, Eckler, and Christian McCaffrey. It is a full PPR mock, again, just as a reminder. So these first 3 picks make a lot of sense. I'd have McCaffrey as the 101, or worst case is the 102, but I imagine 90% of the drafts, are going to have some combination of these 3 dudes. And here at the 104, I'm looking at another running back. I'm looking at either Derrick Henry or Dalvin Cook. I do think Dalvin Cook has a little bit of higher upside in the pass-catching department, so I'm probably going to go his way here. It would have been either him or Derrick Henry, and you're going to see, Derrick Henry shortly thereafter. He goes at the 105. Then we see a run on pass catchers. Justin Jefferson, the first pass catcher off the board, followed by Cooper Kupp, Najee Harris, then Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Travis Kelce, Stephon Diggs, then Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Deebo Samuel, Tyreek Hill. So a huge run on wide receivers here, the first round and a half. Then you see Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara. Chubb, way too early for him, considering guys like Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley in a full PPR league are still available. Kamara at the 206, CeeDee Lamb then at the 207, and then Josh Allen in the second round. I think that's way too early. I've said this before. I don't think the top quarterback should really be going off the board until the 3rd round, at the earliest, even though I think that's still probably too early. But that's just my opinion. I'd rather just wait until like the 5th, 6th, 7th round. There's a chance that somebody like a Kyler Murray might be there. But here, we're not going to overthink it too much. We're just going to go with our next best available player at the running back position. That is Aaron Jones, because I still think I'm going to be able to get, a decent value at wide receiver here with our next selection. And I just, getting 2 running backs in the first 2 rounds, very good value, get depth at the most important position. And right now, the way I have my rankings after our Aaron Jones selection, we saw A.J. Brown, way too early for him, considering Mike Evans and Keenan Allen are still on the board. You see Saquon, Leonard Fournette, Javonte Williams. Again, I continue to say this, way too early for Javonte at the beginning of the 3rd round. That's my opinion. T. Higgins, Patrick Mahomes. So Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, not too far apart. But here we're going to go with our top wide receiver on the board. That is Mike Evans. So Mike Evans as our top wide receiver when we already have Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones. I really like that start for us. And then a huge run on tight ends here in the 3rd round. You see after Mike Evans, Ezekiel Elliott, then Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, Keenan Allen, great value on him, George Kittle. So the majority of tight ends here going in the 3rd round. Kelce went in the 1st. So actually the takeaway here is very good value on Andrews. And then also I think probably a little bit of a reach on Pitts. Then to round out the 3rd round, James Conner, Montgomery, Cam Akers, Antonio Gibson. Those are 2 running backs that I'm kind of avoiding, Akers and Gibson. Then you see Justin Herbert, Darren Waller. So the top tight ends are all officially off the board, with Waller now gone. Then Deontay Johnson, Josh Jacobs, Metcalf, DJ Moore, and Breece Hall. So, here we could go with another running back. We could go with another wide receiver. What I'm going to do is, I think there's still one top running back that I really, really like, and he is higher on these rankings than on some other platforms. So I'm going to take Travis Etienne here, get our 3rd running back, and let me just show you our roster very, very quickly. We've got Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Mike Evans, and then Travis Etienne as our flex. So I was hoping maybe that a Pittman or a Terry McLaurin would fall to us in the fifth round. That doesn't happen, unfortunate. But there's still, I think, some really good depth at the wide receiver position, namely a guy like an Allen Robinson, who I really like. I mean, having him as our wide receiver number 2, opposite Mike Evans, I feel very, very strongly about that, considering, that I think we'll also be able to land a pretty good value guy in the 6th round. So let's get Allen Robinson here. I do appreciate the fact that he is ranked higher here than, in some other platforms, which is always nice to see. So after our Amari Cooper or Allen Robinson selection, you see Amari Cooper, Lamar Jackson, then Judy, Chris Godwin, Elijah Mitchell, Kyler Murray. So the top quarterbacks are also off the board. Mike Williams, Marquise Brown. I was hoping one of those guys might drop to us, probably wishful thinking. The number run on the running back position, Damian Harris, Edwards, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kenneth Walker, Miles Sanders. There goes TJ Hawkinson, AJ Dillon, Cordero Patterson, and DeAndre Hopkins. That is way, way too early for DeAndre Hopkins, considering that he's going to be missing some time. So, in my opinion, that's probably way too early of a selection. Now, what can we do here at wide receiver? I'm going to go with upside. I think somebody like Darnell Mooney is going to see a lot of targets. There's also Brendan Cooks, who I feel like is constantly underappreciated. He's somebody to think about. Michael Thomas, if we had a little bit more wide receiver depth, I'd probably go that way. We could also go tight end. Dalton Schultz is the next best available. I honestly might go that direction and then get one of those 2 wide receivers that I mentioned. So let's do that to, just get that tight end position taken care of. And then we'll see what happens here at the wide receiver spot if we're going to have our choice of Darnell Mooney. He's actually just barely makes it to us. So we have Darnell Mooney. We also have Rashad Bateman. And the question is, who do you prefer? Even though I think Mooney is going to get a lot of volume, I just have more faith in the Baltimore offense. So I do have Rashad Bateman a little bit higher on my list in terms of upside. So I'm going to go with Rashad Bateman here. And let's hopefully kind of speed this thing up a little bit and see what we have available. We've only got a couple of more rounds to go. But again, just showing you our roster. We've got 4 more bench spots to go. We still need a quarterback, but we've got Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Mike Evans, Allen Robinson, Dalton Schultz, Travis Etienne, and then Rashad Bateman. So we are back on the clock here. We could use, maybe let's see what's going on at the quarterback position. Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford. At this point, most everyone has a quarterback, so I'm not too worried. A wide receiver, looking at these options, and I don't necessarily love what I'm seeing. So we might just go to back to the running back position, trying to get some more depth. I think Melvin Gordon at this point in time is a decent value pick. So let's go with Melvin Gordon, and then see what happens here in this next round. I want to see where Alan Lazard is ranked on this board here for Fantasy Pro, or for not for Fantasy Pros, excuse me, for Sleeper, or maybe he was already drafted. Let's take a look. Lazard, no, he's at the 111 spot. I think he's a good value pick at this point in time. So I'm just going to pick him now. He's a guy that I've been targeting. Matthew Stafford just went off the board. Let's see if that team that snagged him already had a quarterback. Yeah, they did. So, wow. Going with a second quarterback. Oh, wow. Looks like we should have gone quarterback, considering teams are loading up on 2 quarterbacks. So we're in a little bit of a tight spot at the quarterback position. Looking at it here, what can we do? I think we'll probably end up just going with Kirk Cousins. I should have gone with Matthew Stafford a round early. I just didn't expect, there to be backup quarterbacks drafted. But I guess, you do this on Sleeper, something to keep in mind. But otherwise, I would say this is going well. We've got depth at running back, at wide receiver. Speaking of wide receiver, I think a guy like Russell Gage is pretty interesting because, if something were to happen with Chris Godwin, we've already got Mike Evans, but, hey, let's get the number 2 as of right now wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Bucks, get some more depth, continue to build up this nice bench of ours, and then maybe we'll take a flyer on a final round quarterback here to put the finishing touches on this roster. We've already got Kirk Cousins as a starter. Obviously could be better, but it is what it is. I'm looking at these guys, and I mean, I don't necessarily love anyone here on this list at this point in time. Probably the guy that I'd be highest on is Trevor Lawrence. So let's see what happens. We'll go with Trevor Lawrence. We've got our two quarterbacks, even though it's a one quarterback league. So that's pretty much it. We kind of round out this squad with that final selection. So our team, again, Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Mike Evans, ETN. So we got some really nice running back depth, Allen Robinson, Dalton Schultz. So we got a decent top 10 tight end as well, Rashad Bateman, Gordon, Allen Lazard. Quarterback can definitely be better. So I'm not going to give this draft the highest grade. I think if we should have just gone Matthew Stafford a round early or something to keep in mind. Again, whenever we do these mocks on Sleeper. So I probably give this a C plus type of grade. I'm going to be a little bit harsh on myself at the quarterback position just because if we, again, took Stafford around earlier, I would like the roster a lot more. But hey, let me know your thoughts in the comment section along with any other questions you guys might have. We will do our best to answer them all. Again, if you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe. Check out the 2022 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide, available for purchase, details in the description. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.